In this video, we're going to go back to the original pyramid, make some adjustments, and bring it back into here. Revit doesn't like files open at the same time. You can open two Revits at the same time and have them both open. That's fine, but if you have one version of Revit open, you only have one file that's linked. Now I'm going to go ahead and close this one. And what Revit will do, it'll remember the last files you worked on, which is nice. So I drop the R down. You see I have my master site building 1, building 2, building 3. So once you've kind of set up your core buildings, you can continue to go here. And if you pin them, that's what that little pin is, they will stay in this list. They never fall out.
Okay.
So like I've got projects I'm working on all the time, they never fall out the list because I've pinned them. So I'm going to go building 1, and that's going to open it right back up, and it should open a little faster. So there it is. So if we make some changes, let's say for instance I want to put some elements out front, maybe whatever it may be. When I load it back into the master, well, I don't have to load it in. I'll open up the master, it'll pop up. So let's take a look at the floors, because you asked about floors. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this thing, and inside of here we had the mass. That's that volumetric element. I'm going to take this wall. I'm actually just going to delete it right now, or hide it. You have two options. You probably should just hide it. I'm going to right click on it, and you see you have all these options. It says hide in view. Big tool you want to remember is right click for options. Hide in view, element. So see, it lets me actually see inside that building now. So while I'm in the building, I'm not seeing my massing anymore. So I'm going to go to make sure I'm in the right 3D view. I'm going to turn my massing back on. So massing and show massing. Okay. Show massing, forms and floors. And now see, there's my floors in here. So if I wanted to take those and convert them to floors now, see, I hit the floor command. Hit the floor command, it says, what kind of floor do you want? And I may say, okay, I want maybe 4-inch concrete. Then what I do is I select the element, and I hit create floor. And see, it creates the floor in there. Grab the element, create the floor. Grab the element, create the floor. Grab the element, create the floor. And it creates those floors. So now the floors are in that model now. So just to bring it full circle, I'm going to go ahead and turn that wall back on. You're like, well, how can I turn the wall on? I can't see it. Down here, I know the walls are going to be kind of small to see, but if you hover over them, you'll see one that looks like sunglasses, then you see one that looks like a little light bulb. And that one's called Reveal Hidden Elements. This is a nice tool because if you turn a layer off, you want to turn it back on. Reveal Hidden Elements. See that pink element right here? That wall's turned off, so I click on it. You can look up top for the options that are available on hide element, or you can right click on hide in view element. And now that's back in play. And that's the toggle, so I toggle it off. That's how I can turn it on and off. Now once you get into it a little heavier, if you come here, see this thing that says Visibility Graphics Override, and I'll ping it a couple times. This is your layers right here. These are all the layers that are in Revit. So if I come down here and say turn the walls off, when I hit OK, you see the walls disappear. I'll go back to Visibility Graphics Override, say turn the walls back on. And that's how you turn on and off your elements in Revit. So what we've done is kind of got the basics of getting these things in play. Now, you'll see the wall, the floors are actually kind of touching the outside, so you may actually see a line there because of the edge of the floor is touching there. So if you wanted to bring that back, you could. There's some tricks you can do to adjust the wall, how it relates to the element. So maybe that's important to discuss. I'm going to take these and get rid of all of them. I'm taking all exterior walls and delete them out. And I'm going to do this on a screen so you can see it. I'm going to open up this little sketch pad. Go ahead and clear it out. Okay. When you're building a wall in Revit, if you have an existing floor, let's say here's our floor, okay, and we also have what you saw with those things which we were calling masses. So let's say this is the mass. It comes down, right? It was at an angle because it was a pyramid. And that floor came out and touched it there. This is the edge of the mass. So much for my typing here. Now when I apply a wall to it, what the wall is going to do by default is it says, okay, that's the outside edge, and it builds the wall in like so. But what we really need to do is we may say, well, that's going to be part of the, let me undo that. That may not be that may be the inside edge of the wall. So the wall may go like this. So how you tell Revit to apply the wall, it goes to different parts on here. So let's go back to Revit and see how that works now. I'm going to close this. Now, here we are in the model, and I'm going to say add wall again. Now, we've had our wall from before, and I'm going to go get it. And now that you understand a little bit how the walls work, I'm going to hit edit type. That's how you get to it. I'll ping that. And there's these things called markers, or they're actually called core boundaries. If you move these core boundaries, it tells Revit where to touch the floors. That's what these things do. So I'm going to take the core boundary, I'm going to move it down one. Whoop, let's go move it up that. I'm the wrong thing. Let's move that up. Okay, so see it says the exterior is outside that core boundary. It's hard to see, but can you see it's like a light green line right there? That's where the floor will stop. It'll stop on the outside core boundary or the inside core boundary. So by moving these things up and down, you can then say, we got all these adjusted markers in here. So the core boundary is where the floor stops. So I'm going to say stop on the inside there. Now you'll see what happens when I bring them in now. Time to put the wall on again. Go back to masking and site, a little bit heavier than we did a minute ago. Hit wall. I'm going to say see location line. It says core face exterior. That's what's going to lay right on that cube. So I'm going to touch that now, and I touch it here, and here you see it's putting that edge right on it. So notice I don't see the floor anymore, because the floor, you can see it stops right there. So my veneer brick goes by. Now let's cut a section through that. To cut a section, go back to level 1. I've got one in here already, but I'll go through that again. If I want to see what the building looks like, you can take this little button called section. You place the head wherever you want it to be, and then you pull through the building. You don't have to pull all the way through, but I will. I stop. It says I'm going to cut right through the building there, and I'm going to look that way. Now when I go to it, you can double click on the head, as long as it's blue, and now you can see how the building's starting to come together. Since we told Revit that we want the floor to stop, well, our walls to tie in on the face of that, that's how it knows where to place them. It's a little bit of playing with. You have to play with that a little bit to get exactly what you want. But that is important to make those things happen. I'll go back to that. And in here you'll notice that there's the edge of the mass. And then we added one wall outside, air mass, another wall on the inside. So it got a little heavy, but that's how you make all the walls really start to refine each other. Okay. So we've got this model, we've refined it, and I'm going to go back to the plan view. I'm going to put something out here just so we can see it. Let's actually go put in, I'm just going to put a door in. Alright. So I've added the doors, and I'll hit finish. Okay, now we have to load doors if we want. We can come back to that. Let's go ahead and save this, and I'm going to close out of it. The nice thing is once you get the base model set up like this, we go back to our master site. This is where it starts to get cool. You'll notice that right now what it's doing is reaching out to the new model and just plug it in. See how the doors are in this model now. So as you're manipulating your individual buildings, your site is continually upgrading. See how you have the doors in there? Now the doors by default always come in straight up so they work properly. So that may be something you have to consider entering this element. But that is kind of how Revit will set up. You'll have your individual files, which are each building. That's going to be a Revit project. This will be a Revit project, and this would be your master site project. And then we can link the two together, and we have the big picture.
Now, how about